Hi students. Today we're going to talk about food preservation and the principles. In the previous session, we had spoken upon the inhibiting principle of microbes. That is the principles or the techniques that we use in food preservation to inhibit the growth of microbes. Now, today we are going to deal with all the methods as well as the principles which will help to kill the microbes and protect or preserve the food. So the spoilage microorganisms are expected to be destroyed or killed in the food, and thereby the food will be protected against subsequent contamination by being enclosed in an airtight container. So let's go into the details of that. Killing of the microbes can be achieved by different methods. One is by the heat treatment. So in this technique you can use some processes such as pasteurization as well as other sterilization techniques, where the heat is being used to kill the microbes which are being present in the food. And the second principle or the second technique which we have is the irradiation, where we use either ionizing or electromagnetic radiations which will kill the microbes in the food. The use of gases is another technique. Now, for example, we have ethylene oxide or ozone, which will destroy the vegetative cells and the spores. Following this, we will be talking about the pressure-based processing of food, which will help to kill the microbes, as well as the chemical agents, which will help to kill the microbes. Now, coming to today's session, we will be concentrating on the heat treatment methods, which will follow the killing principle to preserve food. If you go to consider the historical methods for food preservation, we have drying, smoking, salting and fermentation. And later on, we can find that various activities and various principles of heat as well as irradiation, high pressure, then pulse field electric fields as well as supercritical gas techniques were being developed for the food preservation. In the pioneers of food preservation, the name that we come across is mainly of Nicolas Appert. Nicolas Appert in 1841, he developed a technique which was using some bottles for preserving food, and he is now considered as a father of canning. La Maison Appert, in English the House of Appert near Paris, became the first bottling factory in the world. Appert patented this invention and established a business to preserve a variety of food in sealed bottles. This is a sealed bottle which he used for preserving food. Okay, in his technique what he did, he used to fill this thick mouth glass bottle with food of all kinds, let it be meat or cooked or unprocessed meat, whatever it is, it was being filled in this bottle, and he left some airspace at the top of the bottle, and a cork could then be sealed firmly in the jar by using a whisk. Then the bottle was then wrapped in canvas to protect it, and it was dunked into a boiling water and then boiled for as much as time as Appert thought, like, okay fine, it was good. And in honor of Appert, canning is sometimes called appertization, and this was the first technique of canning which was being a sort of not the real canning procedure which we do now, but it was a most primitive form of canning procedure, and Nicolas Appert is considered to be as the father of canning. And this process is distinct from our pasteurization temperature, and the temperature which was being used for pasteurization was not used for canning. Here the temperature will vary depending. It was a boiling, like the water bath he used to put it. Okay, so let's go into the next pair. The next person that which we come across is Pasteur. Pasteur's experiments with germs and wine revealed a direct cause and effect relationship between bacteria and the souring of wine into vinegar. He is the main person who invented the process of pasteurization, and the term pasteurization itself was given in honor to him. Here what happens that he used to heat the wine to a temperature of between 60 and 100 degrees centigrade, and then he used to let it cool. He completed the first successful test on April 20th in 1862, eventually patenting the method of now what we is known as pasteurization. Now, though it was first used in the case of wine, now it has been applied in beer, juices, eggs, and most famously in the case of milk. Now, it has also been used and it has been proved successful for destroying most yeast and malts without causing a phase transition in the product. So this is Pasteur at his laboratory working with his microbes. Food preservation methods that we have today are the physical, chemical as well as biological techniques. In the physical techniques, we have chilling, cooling, freezing, blanching, pasteurization, canning, freezing, drying or dehydration, separation and filtration, concentration, irradiation, modified or controlled atmospheric packaging. And among the chemical methods, we can have preservatives such as benzoates, nitrites, sugar, salt, not sulfates, spices and various additives. And biological techniques could include fermentation, which would result in the formation of alcohols, acetic acid as well as lactic acid. Now, we have already spoken about chilling and cooling as well as freezing, and we'll be concentrating in this session on these three techniques: blanching, pasteurization and canning. What is blanching? Blanching means to partially or fully cook foods in boiling water or stock. Here, the items may be refreshed in ice water after being blanched or simply removed and served. It is often done to soften some vegetables for further cooking in another form, that is now cabbage for cabbage rolls or asparagus for grilling. And the ideal way to cook green vegetables and enhances their color and flavor. It can also be used to slightly soften certain foods to facilitate the removal of skins, example of tomatoes and almond. You can see the figure here. First they just boil it. In the boiling water they'll just immerse it, and then after that they will keep it on to ice. It is usually done in the case of vegetables. Now this is a process designed to inactivate the enzymes, and it is usually applied to immediately prior to other thermal preservation processes, either using high temperatures or low temperatures. So just before high or low temperature process mediated preservation techniques are being used, you can just blanch the food, and this does not reduce the microbial population on the surface of the foods, but it reduces the number of organisms of low heat resistance, such as yeast, molds and certain bacteria such as listeria, salmonella, etc. And without a blanching step, what happens? The shelf life of these frozen vegetables would be substantially reduced, because there will be a chemical breakdown during storage. So what do we do is, when we have to store some vegetables and all that, you just blanch them at the first step, and then after that you can either go for a high thermal processing, high temperature of processing, or it can be a low temperature processing. So blanching is a intermediate process in between, and you kill the microbes on the surface of the food. Okay, this can be done by heating the food with a steam or a hot water to about 82 to 87 degrees centigrade, and then cooling it in on ice water, which prevents the bacteria from growing. As a rule, we say that fruits are not blanched. What are the benefits of blanching? It helps us to clean the material and reduce the amount of microorganisms on the surface. It preserves the natural color in the dried products. It shortens the soaking or cooking time during reconstitution, and it also destroys enzymes in the food. I hope this is clear to you. We will be continuing with pasteurization in the next session. Thank you.